I'm gonna keep running. So at this video this series I don't mean to be arrogant or or drawing up references to points in history that are unnecessary, or to reference or associate with things for the sake of it. What I just meant to say is that I was trying to articulate that. So I learned, according to Arthur Avalon, is that practice changes things, but anything that is consistent is very very potent in reality. So if you have someone that lives by you, that does something, anything, daily, on time, daily, consistently, repetitively, constantly, regimented, anything at all, that is a momentum and inertia that is going to be a force to be reckoned with at some point if they keep that up. Potentially any pattern is significant. Pattern significant. Pattern significant. Any pattern, anyone, anyhow, any pattern. Because if somebody does something daily, like say you have somebody that goes for a walk each day, the same time, near about the same walk daily, over 5 years, over 10 years, over 15 years, the same walk at the same time of day, the same place for 15 years, that this reality would allow a person to do that. That a person would have the health, the standpoint, and the leisure to take a walk at noon for 15 years, the same route. That this existence would tolerate that, but also support that. That would actually get to happen. That would be consummated in living reality existence. That significant of a pattern. That would actually factor into the destiny of the universe, and therefore that would actually speak to the designs of the universe and what the universe may intend, and the actual purpose and design of the universe. Just that the universe is allowing that significant of a pattern, that much of a deviation, that much deviation for not deviating, not being a part of the beaten path of the rat race. Something that removed from the rat race, yet that significant right there. Now I think that anytime you see feet at all, feet doing anything, anytime you see feet moving, is significant. That can potentially spell life and death for someone. So you're driving down the road, and this one's over there, they're over there, they're over there, and then they decide to cross the road without looking at who's coming. That feet moving that they did right there, that is now potentially going to interfere with your line of travel, and you have a split-second opportunity to decide what you're going to do, whether you potentially strike that person, and you may potentially be cited as being at fault and receive some form of discipline that can cost you your freedom. Say it was appreciated that the way you responded to someone walking out was not appropriate for the license that you have, and now you have to do 5 years in prison for that. You may never come out of that 5 years in prison, because when you go in prison, you may be intimidated or accosted or threatened by another person, so that you now need the support. You're actually not safe for day by day, day to day. You're not actually safe just to abide and do your own time by yourself without the support of other people in the prison. Now, because you're associated with other people, you can either be attacked by that person and their associates, and or someone different randomly, because you're part of this group, or you can be attacked by that very group that you've associated with, or you can have to attack another person because of the group that you're associated with, and have more penalty and time put onto your sentence, and experience more vicissitudes and changes like that amount to you never leaving that position of incarceration, never seeing your family again while at liberty, and never experiencing some of the amenities of living outside of prison walls again, because someone walked in front of your line of path. Yes, they may not be justified or appropriate or responsible for how they did so, but that they did so, and your means of responding and the potential footing that you were on that day to respond to them or not respond can cost you the rest of your life. That's an example that footwork is significant, as benign and mundane and ordinary as ordinary. If you're driving down the road and you see someone get to sprinting, or they get to dancing, or just employing footwork, anywhere, footwork is very significant. So if you were to see someone walk the same path for 15 years at the same time of day, there may be nothing more significant that you saw in your 15 years than that person walk like that. Just that would be consummated in living reality. That significant of a pattern. Patterns are very significant. But according to Arthur Avalon, things develop a force when you do it repetitively. So since about the year so from about 4 years prior to the George Floyd slaying, I had some experiences that made me not feel safe in broad society while on foot. But then also, I started listening to music regimented at the same time of night for about, it amounted to near about 8 years. I did that, where I listened to music constantly because I appreciated that I was learning to listen to music. It's actually a form of practice for me, and then it lended it to songwriting, because when I got up with a maestro a couple years ago, he challenged me that he didn't want me simply just playing music of other people, but he wanted me to become an original creator of music at one point. If he's going to be teaching me guitar, that's what he would want from me. And I did so more rapid than he was anticipating, and I somewhat surprised him when I did that. I had ideas like that I could do stuff like that in my mind first, because I'd work at a pizza delivery store, and sometimes when music would be playing ambiently, I would hear ideas in that. It first started, I heard the song "Swimming Pools" by Kendrick Lamar at night one time, and I made another reference in this video about some of my appreciation of pictures that my mom would take when I was younger, and those pictures spoke to me deeply. You could actually almost say their destiny at a certain point, because those pictures would transpire and that my mother was able to capture them. That could have been imminent within causation, going way back, that it would amount to those pictures being captured. And so if you appreciate time as being relative and therefore being almost a little bit non-existent as we appreciate that, it's significant that anything happens at all in consummated living reality. So those pictures could actually be a document of destiny. Those pictures, what they suggest, what they represent in the different living, that it would take that many people and their ancestors to get them to that point of having that experience. Then how significant that experience is without a limitation of arbitrary sense of time. And then also what has amounted from that position, all of what would lead into the footing and existence of those people in the pictures, and then how they have dispersed into life and affected other people and created families and affected families that would also amount to other pictures that was still constituted and represented in at least expressed or seed that is potential form in those pictures. So that's very significant like that. But that song "Swimming Pools" by Kendrick Lamar, when it was playing on a radio, it spoke to my experience of those pictures deeply, of what it actually is we are existing as. That song "Swimming Pools" by Kendrick Lamar, which also speaks to alcoholism, which is what I want to convey in this present series of videos that I'm doing. I wanted to get around to speaking about alcohol a little bit tonight. But at that time, I was listening to music that consistent and regimented, while also experiencing a very uniquely challenging experiences that would make, for my experience where I was living at, I was experiencing some crazy vibes, but also those vibes were playing out into incidents and real things that were happening that would make you more afraid. I felt more comfortable during daytime hours than night. I would say that I felt more comfortable existing when I could see the sunlight out. I wasn't necessarily safer because some things happened during daylight hours, but I was more comfortable at daytime. They say that vampires are afraid of the light. People that would be, sometimes there's things more scary than light. I'll say that. But that was going on in my vicinity, less than 5 miles from where George Floyd was slain, over 4 years, while I was listening to music that regimented, practicing that regimented, feeling life that deeply as what part of that regiment, but also having horrible things happen to me that I was also feeling, and sometimes expressing in calls for help that would have went over airways that would have been perceived by the actual officers that slayed George Floyd. I'm just saying those vibes were in the midst when up to and when we lost him.